the quality assurance, which are quite implemented and are already in operational. So when it comes, if you look at what we really need for this kind of market in terms of de-risking investments, we're looking at the blended finance, the concessional finance. This is a case where we are looking at probably being supported by the development financial institutions to access, if not zero, then affordable interest rates which can catalyze or spur our markets. Because you know today, the number of commercial banks we have in Kenya, banking is about selling money. And the money they sell belongs to us. And even us as shareholders, we are also demanding profit from those shares. So until they're able to get some support in terms of concessional facilities, then it means that now they'll be comfortable venturing in this particular sector. We're also looking at probably the international community coming in with the guarantee financing and the risk-sharing tools, things to do with the RBF, the revolving fund, and such. Yeah. So to narrow down on the end-user financing, the people we are looking at currently, the biodigester plant installers. Yeah. One thing, our lending assessment is collateral-based. It's not character-based. That is one thing which, as GIZ, we have really been trying to change the mindset. For a facility which does not, for a facility like most of these biodigesters, they run from maybe 100,000, 300,000. That may not demand for a collateral. But if you walk to most of these financial institutions, they insist on a title deed, they insist on a logbook, which I believe with time, as we continue doing the capacity building and looking at the many options of lending, probably we'll be able now to move from the collateral-based to the character-based. And that will be a game changer. The small-scale holders, the SMEs, and even the biodigester contractors who are already in this particular market. Yeah.
Thank you.
Could you touch on one topic that we often hear of, and that's carbon credit?
We'll look at the environmental facilities that exist and how, if it's possible, for these entities to tap into that. Please.
Yeah, carbon credit is a very modern means of financing. It's a revenue generation to most of the aggregators. Just the other day, the government was able to set up a register for the carbon credit in Kenya for the first time. For the many years, we have seen the established organizations have been beneficial. Some of to the carbon credit revenue. We know what a number that okay. If today without the carbon credit, a Biogas system costs 100,000. It means that if you see some of these companies going below 50,000 or even at 50,000, there's a carbon credit revenue which they're getting from the buyers, which now translate into that particular subsidy. I remember when there was some flip-flop in the carbon credit market, it really affected the Ugandan market. And today, I know of quite a number of companies which had to close doors and to move to Kenya because the financial ecosystem in Uganda could not sustain that kind of costing. So it's something which I believe going forward, I'm not an expert in carbon credit, but because the government has a lot of interest, we are looking at a scenario where with time, if you can achieve the adoption and you get the numbers, then definitely the pricing for the bioregister plants will definitely come down. And that is what our counterparts in the EU market are currently enjoying. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe I don't have experts in terms of carbon credit, but anybody here would like to add to that? Any experiences? No?
Regarding carbon credit, I think it's maybe one of the challenges that it's what I was saying. If we move in this kind of question, then we need to first to undertake research and to produce data to make the balance between, okay, what is happening when you make a world change in the value chain from firewood to biomethane. But I don't know, but for me, I don't believe so much in carbon credit system. I think it's a myth for economy, and it's one of the tools that came up with the paradigm of eco-efficiency, which is not really an environmentalist, let's say, position from my view, personal view. But where I'm thinking, because anyway, the question is that when you do biomethane, at least you transform biomethane in CO2, burning it, okay? So where it is interesting is more technically, are we able to reduce the quantity of CO2 that we are using with comparing with other technology? This is where it's really interesting. And it's where I'm talking also about optimization. So I think it's, at this step, regarding the biogas technology, it's more interesting to have such a question, which even if I understand the economist's position regarding carbon credit.
Thank you. If I may say you please and ask in terms of your experience, what can the EU sector, what can we adopt here in the Kenya sector in terms of our biogas projects to make them a little bit more feasible? What can we adopt based on your experience? But based on your
Based on my lessons, and it was one question for my colleagues from Germany. I think when we deal with biogas, one of the concepts that we need to, and it's the same for all energy system, one of the concept which is quite a proof of concept we need to test is replicability. And we know in the area of energy that one of the issues is that maybe we have a technology to produce an energy, but how this energy, when we come to African context, is fitting with the needs of society. This is really one of the key questions for any energy. I would say, for me, the key question is, okay, what are the needs of the society? And then we start to think what will be the system we try to elaborate. So it's from there that I'm thinking that when you are in a pastoralist community, biomethane is a wonderful technology from my view. The question of the scale is another one, and the replicability of large scale in Kenya or other African countries is really one issue for me, because it's a matter of it's a matter of training the people who will be able to master the technology. But if you do at the medium scale, we know that it can be manageable. This is where I'm interested with. But if you deal with pastoralist community, you know that, for example, you can use the cow dung. It is a resource that is there. It is existing, the manure. So it's one way for this society to value also some resources. In a circular system, it is benefiting to the community. It's where it is interesting from my view. And in addition, we discover, I mentioned this because I like this, with the Martin School from Oxford University, we discover that with some succulent grass plant, cactus, some species of aloe vera, when we combine with manure, it is increasing the productivity of the system, of the biomethane. So which means that in some pastoralist community, for example, the women are fencing their land with this kind of cactus to make the fencing. With a low maintenance, they can provide cactus to the cooperative, and cactus contain the 30% of water we need to start a chemical reaction. So you see, this kind of just knowledge coming from research, from optimization system, when you start to share with the community, they will be sensitive and they will get have some interest in it. And this is why we have been working at the level, really medium level until now. I'm not sure that my team and my colleagues will be able to go to large scale. But maybe if we deal, and it's a question I am addressing to my colleague, how do you think that large scale biogas can fit with the needs of some specific location? I think it's a key question we need to answer.
Okay. No, I think that's so. First of all, let me grab one thing that you said, maybe regarding to this question. What can we learn from the lessons that we already learned? For example, in Germany, what you said is really important: the circular economy, because that's something that's totally wrong for example, in Germany. So I think that's really important. That it benefits all of the stakeholders you have there, and that you use it as best as you can, of course, to improve the efficiency as well. And regarding how your large-scale biogas plants can fit in there, I think that's the question of the day probably. So I think that they can make a good addition to what is already here. So I don't think that there is a decision to make between small scale and large scale, not now, because I think the small scale household or smaller farms, I think they have their place because they are easy to use. Of course, there's still a growth to be there, and I think that large scale biogas plants, they have their place as well. Regarding, for example, if you talk about my specialty, which is the local use of biogas in an engine, for example. That can be an option, that you use it to stabilize the electricity grid, for example. That's so I talked a lot about that, for example, with my colleague Joshua, that there actually is this problem in Kenya, that you have an electricity grid which is unstable, and that's what you can do with biogas. So, and I think that's what you can use biogas ideally for, because that's really its strength compared with other renewable energies, that you can store it and therefore use it to stabilize it. And I think that's the way to introduce large.
Okay, thank you. So
I think one thing we can say from the in terms of
financial part is that maybe we needed some bankers or some financial institutions around to help us. We know that there's quite a bit of green financing that is out there. A number of banks are offering green financing, but we also know and we see that there is different levels. We can have small, we can have medium scale, and we can have large scale. On both sides, whether it's a matter of capacity building and technology transfer to move from the small to medium to large, that's one of the issues we've talked a bit about. And combined with that is the issue of where the financing can come from. I don't think we have any of the financiers here who can fully answer those questions, but we know that those facilities exist. And as I said earlier, we also know that there are also corporations that are out there. We have our multilaterals, we have our bilateral donors that are there, we have grants, and we have NGOs. And so as we build on this beautiful conference that we have, maybe one of the next things we can look at is financiers, the bankers and so on, who will be able to delve a bit more into the whole issue of financing of these projects. And so at this time, I'd like to thank my panelists and ask if there are any questions that the audience has.
one Unfortunately,
Yeah, regarding the financing, because it is also the side of my job in my role. The CNRS is the National Center for Scientific Research, and 2022 we established a roadmap for a new partnership. So with this roadmap, we started to develop tools for financing basic research in partnership with African scientists. Okay, and it's how these tools are including the financing of research school, and there was some research school in other area organized at the Technical University of Kenya by Matteo Gatti. I don't know if some of you know him. We are also funding joint research project. There are 4 years project with 2 PI, 1 PI which is a French, and 1 PI which is Kenyan or Tanzanian African scholars. But it is one of the conditions to have the 2 co-PI, because we want to, partnership mean co-construction of a research project or of a project. And it's how we are also developing some project linking research and innovation, for example, especially in the area of energy. But and so we have different tools to try to implement research, and these tools could involve some research of Technical University of Kenya. You just need to have a partners of the CNRS or French partners. But I think that the challenge, and it is written behind somewhere, establishing biogas network. The big challenge of people working in bioenergy today and biogas is really to establish a biogas network. And why? Because we have a lot of small research community, innovation teams working everywhere, not only in Kenya, but in Africa. 2 weeks ago, I had one colleague, a very bright scholar from Nigeria, and he's working on biogas, and he came, we had a very good discussion. So the question is, how can we share our different experience, and how can we enrich our technology all together? The tools for that is creating a network. But why creating a network? It's not only to exchange idea and technology and so. It's because there are some existing funds today, even for African scholars at the level of European Union. And it's one of the big jobs I have been undertaking, I have to say, with my office over the last few months, is trying to bring together the different teams working on biogas in order to create a Pan-African network of people working with this kind of technology. Why? Because some of them are excellent scientists, and they have the skills to submit a European project. And I'm looking at my German colleagues that you know that when we apply for a European project, most of the time we need a partnership between European countries too. So it means the networking that exists in Africa, we have to do it on our side. So this is really, I think, the big way today to get funds for universities. I'm saying at the level of universities, going to European level. The CNRS can offer engineers who are specialized to build this kind of project, because it requires a lot of technical skills. And we have one engineer attached to my office who can help to build such a project, because it's 6 months writing, and so it requires a lot of investment at the beginning. And there is at least different call. You can apply for a European Research Council grants, for synergy grants, which is part of the ERC. And there is now a specific call that will come in 2027. It will be launched by LEAP-RE, Renewable Energy, and it's one program which is equivalent to the ERC program. And within this one, you can go with a consortium of different countries African countries, different partners from Europe, and really try to develop something on biogas. So I think that for me, it's not only, okay, where is the money? The question is, what is the method that we develop to get this money? And this is Pamoja, we are stronger.
Great information there for our researchers. And we are hearing again the problem of operating in silos. That is a major, major problem that is deterring some of the development that we can have. We could have one or two questions, and then we can have the
Actually, and as we've agreed, because we are in an engineering institution, direct to the question, right? Yes, because of time.
I have about 2 questions. My name is Soita. I've asked the first question in the first place. Now, this is not an engineering institution. All of us here are researchers at the Technical University of Kenya, whichever department we are. We participate in policy research and academic research. Now, I'm very happy to learn that GIZ is here. I've interacted with them because I've been doing policy research also with the government of Kenya and some county governments. Now, I'm so much invested in following this. When I was coming in, I thought Biogas as a conference is a very small conference. But what is going to lead to is for us understanding the research. As here I said, you have been working with the government for a very long time, and I want to know, the first question is whether you have any research repository somewhere, especially the research papers you have done for governments like Germany, in Africa, like in Kenya, like government touching on this subject of biogas energy. The second thing is biogas is basically methane, from my understanding of chemistry. And methane is a greenhouse gas. And being a greenhouse gas, it will cause greenhouse effects. It will lead to global warming. Now, from your research, have you looked at the negative side of it? Because I've had a discussion about carbon credits. I'm wondering whether we can raise financing through carbon credits if in the first place methane itself is a greenhouse gas. It is going to be used, biogas, which contains a large part of it is methane, is going to be used as a fuel, either in industry or at home. So how can we raise financing through carbon credits? That is still the question mark raised. Thirdly, and the last, for these projects, we have so many students we are training here for chemical engineering and don't work in that department and chemistry. Now, in your research endeavors, in your research projects, both GIZ and the sister organization, how are you going to include our graduates? Because that is the most important thing. How are you going to assist the university, the Technical University of Kenya? Not only in engineering, but including even in other departments like economics and business, because we do a lot of the policy work. And lastly, how are you going to assist the government of Kenya to set no down regulations on things to do with biogas?
Yes, I think we'll go with these 2 and then we can finalize. Or they answer first. You've noted down the questions. I'm just see Gen Z, the memory is TikTok generation. 3 seconds.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for this amazing presentation. And I'm glad that you mentioned about researchers working in silos.
Sorry. My name is Nancy. I'm a PhD student in chemistry, Department of Material Science. My research focuses on hydrogen production and CO2 reduction. So that is why this is
a bit interesting for me. And mine is not really a question, it's just a comment. You mentioned that we work in silos, mostly such as globally or even in Africa. The creation of the network or a place where people can have a way to work together. Is there a way someone can sign up? Because I know that is something my research group would be interested in. We have worked before with GIZ, especially when they were doing stakeholder engagement meeting for green hydrogen production. So where do we go? Or do you have a platform that people who are dealing with that kind of research like us can join, who would be interested, and how do we get funding? Because our resources or facilities, including research facilities, are very constrained. So how best do we join and how best do we benefit from this as a research community? Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you. My name is Wamaida, and adoption is really can be generally measured in terms of utilization. And so I see a lot of the incentives that we're talking about are really going into the setup of the infrastructure, the biogas plant. Other incentives, maybe incentives, let me say, for now, cookers, for example, or lighting equipment. For now, me who has installed the system, that then now I can maybe access maybe a cheaper, or at least, I don't know, maybe cheaper actually, cooker that can use biogas. And then in the same case, is there capacity building for Juakali sector to modify maybe existing cookers so they can be able to use if that is something. And lastly, do we also have sort of small homestead, not homes, but small sort of technologies that allow them for the cleaning of the ammonia and hydrogen sulfate that we already talked about? Because if most of the biogas plants that are existing are actually at domestic level, then are we also taking care of all these other things to ensure that there's sort of good utilization or proper utilization of this?
So I think we can close this at that. I'll give back to the panelists.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go for the one on financing, because I'm a social scientist. I'll leave the other one for the scientist. When it comes to using carbon credit as a source of financing, yes, it's possible. It can be used as a collateral. It can be used. You can use it in terms of securitization. Securitization simply means that you are using the anticipated income to spend on your daily operations as at now. So carbon credit can be used for collateral. It's a source of financing. But where we are as a country today, remember the registry for carbon credit was just established the other day. There's still need for public finance. Public finance is what we get from the donors, from the development financial institutions. The public finance is what we use to mobilize or to catalyze the market so that we can do what is called crowdfunding of the private financing to support this particular sector. Yes, so that is possible.
Thank you. There was a question re the technology for removing things like the sulfide. Toba,
Yeah.
if you could.
So that's a difficult question for me. So I could tell you easily how it is done, like in large scale or industrial applications. But I'm actually not sure how it is done on a really smaller level. So there are some simple variants how they've done it from the beginning, for example, when we are talking about desulfurization or condensation of the water content, which is quite important when we are talking about biogas and using it maybe in normal gas burners. So I think that's what you can easily apply. So you would have to try it so easily is maybe a bit of bigger statement here. But what they do, for example, or what they've done in the beginning, they take the biogas out of the digester, they put it into a pipe, they lead it around in the earth a bit. Of course, it has to have a certain inclination, and because there is a colder temperature in the earth, the water will condensate out, with the water other impurities which you don't want to have in there. And regarding the desulfurization, there's a pretty simple method. It was, I think, found by accident actually. So when you put a small amount of oxygen or air into the digester, you have certain microorganisms will basically get rid of H2S and form elemental sulfur, which you will have then in the liquid or solid phase. And then you are not going to have H2S or sulfuric acid or anything in the virus itself, because that is corrosive and bad for basically anything. This is manageable in industrial applications because there you can control it. You put an air stream into the digester. I'm not sure whether you could do this in small.
Thank you, sir. Maybe what you've given to us is a challenge for researchers.
So our students and other researchers here, maybe that is something you can look at for small-scale system. How can we remove impurities such as the hydrogen sulfide and other impurities? And as I speak to that issue in terms of looking at research, I do think Dr. Benoit had talked a bit about that. Someone asked about inclusion of graduates and possible funding. I think you mentioned that a bit. I don't know if you hadn't heard. Maybe for time, we won't ask him to answer that again, but maybe if you could grab him. I can see like we're going to have a cup of tea behind there. If he doesn't mind while he's sipping his tea, you could grab him and maybe you can expound on that a bit. But you did talk to that right now you have a small system, and that, yes.
About the Lothar project, you mean? Yeah. But if I want to come back on your question, because I think the last comment that you address is, what are the current challenge when we deal with biogas today? And if we are on large-scale system and small-scale, so there are some common challenge, as how we remove impurity, how we remove the ammoniac, which is one question. But and what we tested in the Lothar system, it's also a circular system, because one of the things we are trying to work on now is we try to, as maybe we are working in arid area most of the time. There is no water. So if you put some water in the system, how do you make sure that you get the same amount of water at the end of the process? Then you pump it with a solar pump, and you re-inject at the beginning to restart the decomposition. So it's also the circularity is also part of the small technology. This is one thing, and one another thing that we discovered that there are some impurity, but the liquid that is coming out of the biogas digestion is also a very good fertilizer in the liquid states, and it can be sold and this kind of thing. So this is one of the issue. I think for me the big challenge, if I come back to the challenge, when we deal with a small scale and medium scale system, biogas system, actually it is a question of the storage. You are mentioning that when we deal with large scale, we pipe. But in Kenya, we don't pipe. There is we pipe eventually geothermal energy, but how do we provide a pipe system to every people? Even just look at, I'm living in Nairobi, you have a pipe system for your house, providing water, and it is broken most of the time due to lack of maintenance. So maybe it's not the good technology. And maybe there is a very big issue on how we think now the next step. We are able to produce biomethane. How are we able to think the question of a sustainable storage for the system, and to make in such a way that the people, as they go to refill their gas system for cooking, they can refill the same with biomethane. And actually, I think there is something that there is a missing link there in terms of research, and it can be good why not for your student to work on that.
Thank you so much. And then I think the final question there was about
capacity building. Ms. Foster, as that collaboration between THI and have we looked at capacity building not just within the university, but
she's saying
a lot of these small scale producers of biogas. Would you think of expanding that capacity building program to others? And also maybe Mr. Akot could speak to that.
I think my colleagues from TUC later over tea can tell you much more about the capacity building than I can. But I think when we're already talking about the collaboration between THI and TUC, it also answers the questions regarding research financing very well. Because also research needs to be financed, and I think it combines also your aspects very well. That's how we did. We wrote a proposal, we got it financed, and that's how we are moving on. So as we as the Institute of New Energy Systems, as THI, we are entirely third-party funded. We don't get funded by the state or by the university or nobody else. So every research we are doing, we first need to write a proposal, get it approved, and then we can start working on that. And that leads us back to the capacity building. We are currently at the end of the first phase of the Biovarya project, unfortunately. We wrote a proposal for the next phase, but financing depends on the approval. So, and therefore the capacity building, unfortunately. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think for capacity building, EZ can support. You have done it for a number of stakeholders and even for the students who are studying such relevant deep sectors. We have a number of programs where they can get some practical experience. Yeah, that's what we've done, and it's something we can handle at the organizational level, where we probably can work on an MOU between TUC and GIZ as an organization. So we have done it for several students from different organizations in Kenya. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Baltov?
Thank you. Here I want to add something that was said a couple of times already today. I think there something like a biogas association would be very, very valuable, where you centralize all the knowledge so that you don't only have like a central voice for everybody, for the policy makers, for example, but you also can have this opportunity to centralize the knowledge. Like that's how it's done in Germany. It's really important that when you have an operator, for example, of a biogas plant, they have to learn to operate a biogas plant as well, and that is organized at least partly with a biogas association.
So thank you all.
Yes, so we have heard today to look at the life cycle approach as we look at biogas. So there are the different concepts that are there.
And so I'd like to take this opportunity not only to thank, but maybe any last words from any of our
panelists here. Any final parting comments, guiding comments that you have?
I think for me, as we work towards the expansion, the market, we see a good number of support from our good donors. That's just like I mentioned. The cost of financing in Kenya is beyond many of these people who are targeting to consume this kind of services. So we need a good contribution in terms of public finance, which definitely, if used in the right instrument like guarantee facility, result-based financing, or even in terms of revolving fund, I think we can really fast-track the adoption process in this country. So that is something maybe we need to have another forum where we can have such kind of discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you all. And I hope it has been a very informative and that you have come away with
quite a bit of information, and the challenge, especially for the students, of writing some sort of a research project that we can look at addressing some of the issues that we have found there. Thank you.
I think we can do better than that.
No, wait, I give you directions. So thank you so much, our panelists. We look forward to engaging with you as well as we proceed. And as I came to realize, majority of you
did not do the River and the Source. Which literature books did you do? The River and the Source, no. So you must know Makofi Anyayo, right? Yes. How do we go about it? Yes. So we start again now. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Again. Again. Thank you so much. I want you to project something before they exit. Yes, go to the home page. Kikale now is taking over. The home page of Biovarya. Yes. Now, look, yes, exactly there. So, I don't know if you can, this is the Biovarya project, the website, and this is the partners that we have. You see there, we have Biogas already there, which is a Kenyan company, represented by Mr. Shege there, Inua Mkono. Yes, and then we have Agricomp, it's a German company in, you say Mackendorf, or how do you pronounce the headquarters?
Somewhere in Bavaria.
It's okay, okay. I want to get the pronunciation right. So you see at the far right or left, yeah, the spaces. We still need people to fill. We'll still need to fill those parts. Are we together? So Engineer Bez, Dr. Jora, in their panel discussion, we have realized that most of us, we operate in information silos, which we need to break them, right? So the first of that way of breaking that information silo is through that framework. We need to have you there so that we can engage as well. Somebody asked how we are able to connect, especially with the research, postgraduate research projects as well. And also, like now, the lottery project, the project might be existing, but the knowledge about it might not be there. So such platforms will be able to bring us closer so that we break these information barriers, and then now we can engage more. And I think Tobias has mentioned about the Biogas framework. And I don't know if we have a working framework here in Kenya, but we have the same case, the silos within the large organization. And I noticed that the reason as to why I told them to remain here is, in Germany, their association includes the institutions, like the universities as well. And this is very key. They offer neutrality. So in terms of policy, TUK will be able to push for a policy or influence a policy that affect the biogas as an entire ecosystem, but not a specific company. You get the point? So that is the importance of having institutions into that biogas system, biogas framework. So I hope as we proceed, we can have your contacts there. We can have, go to the contacts page now. The contacts page. This is the Biovarya project. Yes, the contacts, yeah. And then scroll at the bottom, just scroll. Yes. So you can talk to either of those. There's an email as well, and Jessica, you need to update that as well. And then you can talk to Dr. Bilha, who is here. You can talk to Joshua, and you can as well as Professor Goldbranner, I think if I pronounce it very well. So before you exit, you scan that at the bottom there. You scan, it will take you to that Biovarya homepage. So I wanted to make that very clear. Yes, and I think we will also, the presentation that you've shared with us, those who have presented, we'll have them online. So within that, now you understand we are beginning to break the silos at this point. So all the presentations as well as CNRS, he shared about the lottery project. If you are not able to get it very well, we'll have it there. So you can go and read more about it. I don't know if your contacts are there or the website. We'll be able to engage more on the same. But we'll have Jessica. We'll have the presentation there. And also, we'll have a link to all the photos that we have taken here. So I want to see in your status, in your TikToks, go and tell your Gen Z children to post those. We want to generate a conversation. And to Jessica, as you are going to write the report as well, we want to include the Kenya Prison Service here. We want to include from the defense. We want to from the Nairobi County. We want to coalesce all of this into, as well as CNRS.
I think you can work very easily. You understand each other. You remember what I said. Just please, but don't mention it. Yeah, so we can include in the next phase. We include these people as well as kidney and effort. We have an holistic approach to solving this. Yes, I think yeah, we have. Yes, I think I've mentioned everything that I had. So as they exit, I welcome. Before I go, because I'm not coming
here anymore. After this, we can have a tete-a-tete over tea. Yes, as we network as well. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining the conference, and we look forward to engaging with you. I'm the secretariat. You can contact me. Usipopata how naweza kuwa busy a whole director. So you can contact me and we can engage. We are coming to Nairobi County with a proposal. Yes, in the next 1 month we are going to be there. Yes. Thank you so much. God bless you, and we say danke, right?
Yes, thank you very much. All right. Mine is just brief. To say a few words to our participants, to say a few words to our organizers, our partners. I am happy to see this happening today. 2 years ago, no, more than 2 years ago, when we were thinking about this project, putting it together, maybe we underestimated that we can have a big interest like this. I'm really happy that we have a very big interest. I think Jasfat can tell you that he closed the registration very quickly because he saw a very big interest, and we could not be able to host everybody as we had thought. We are really excited to have you here. One lesson I take from here is that this biogas is not an individual. Biogas is not an individual process. It's a collective responsibility. This journey is for all of us. As we have said, most of us have said that the benefit is not individual. It's a community benefit. It is a societal benefit, both from health, agriculture, environmental protection, and economics. So let every one of us do what they can wherever they go. We want, as we said, during our next meeting, to see each and every one of you having a biogas plant in your home. That's what I will do myself. From all my research over the last 3 years, I am more convinced that I can build a biogas plant, mostly to do research, more research on how I can leverage more opportunities, more feedstocks and other things. So mine is to thank all of you. I thank the Technical University of Kenya for hosting us, giving us this opportunity to host all these people here. I thank the Secretariat led by Dr. Bill Ashton and very proud of your work. I thank my colleagues from the Technische Hochschule Ingolstadt. I was telling them the other day that you are escorting me back home. Because I told them when you reach Nairobi, you leave me at the Technical University of Kenya, and then you can go back alone. And then I can continue now to to work from
this side. We work together going forward. With Jessica, Tobias,
we are really grateful for the partnership. Our partnership with Technische Ingolstadt has been going on for probably 8 or 10 years since now, through different initiatives, and this is the latest, and hopefully more are coming. We have very many ideas of how we can continue collaborating, and now we bring all the other partners we have today here to work together, because as we have seen, we need to talk to each other. Let's talk, let's share, and everybody has an idea. It's just that let's share it. Let's talk to each other. Somebody has a problem somewhere, the neighbor has a solution. Let's keep this going, especially the institutions, even if not, even the person, the individual stage. It's easy to demonstrate working systems through institutions than even through individual initiatives. Yeah. So that's so much I've said. Thank you very much for coming. I will give to Jessica to say the last word.
And I will make it very brief to stay in the German tradition of having everything very short and very concise. Thank you very, very much for attending today. It was an absolute pleasure to learn from you, to exchange ideas. And one of my absolute all-time favorite colleagues always said that the most important time of a workshop is the coffee break, because that's where you learn the most and that's where you exchange the best ideas. So please join us for one last coffee, and I hope to see you all very soon again. Thank you very much.
All right, before we go, we open with a prayer, and we request our colleague, Dr. Sheila, to close for us.
We can start and then proceed to take photos. Let's pray.
Our God and our Father, in Jesus' name, we want to thank you so very much that, Lord, you have brought us to a successful end of this conference. We thank you for every deliberation that has been made today. We thank you even for those challenges that have been proposed and tabled. We know that, Lord, you're going to give us the wisdom. You're going to give us even the financing that is so much needed to make sure that every challenge that has been tabled today, that one day we shall come and say, this was a challenge, but through your grace, we've been able to tackle it for the good of the community, to the glory of your name. We want to thank you that even as we go back to our places of residence, we pray that you're going to protect each and every one of us. And until we meet again, we shall be careful to give you thanks. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Safe journey home. Yes.